Okay, yeah, yes, yes.
Oh, good, good. Sorry for my...
Okay. Okay, dear participant, Professor Singh will talk about Indo-Mediterranean diet and nutrition-immunological function with reference to viral infection. Prof Singh, now you are having 30 minutes for your talk. The time is yours. Please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very sorry that I have not been able to communicate with you due to my ignorance in this computer technology. May I have the next slide, please? You would know that we are in the pandemic and the complications and mortality are significantly higher among subjects with the elderly age and comorbidities like diabetes, hypertension, heart attack, and obesity. Next slide, please. Next one, yeah. So we have to understand that if our immunological status is substantially good, then we are less likely to develop the disease and other problems. So what are the pathways by which immunity could be manipulated? Environmental risk factors such as the urbanization, globalization influence the infections, mental stress, Western diet, tobacco, alcohol. They all can influence various biological factors in our body, which can influence adaptable immunity as well as the innate immunity, and this can result into increased oxidative stress and inflammation, resulting into various diseases and various complications of viral infection such as the COVID-19. Next one. Now this is a summary how once the viral infection occurs, it goes into the lung. Yeah, in this slide shows how the infection with coronavirus when it enters the lung and how it progresses. So after entering the lung tissue, it acts like an antigen, and then it goes on increasing and resulting into marked inflammation and decrease in the immunity. Can I have the next slide, please?
Yep.
Yes. So the coronavirus infection is more common in patients with the comorbidities like diabetes, hypertension, and those who are consuming increased amount of Western type of diet and lower amount of fruits, vegetables, legumes that are rich in fiber and also PUFA, antioxidant flavonoids, and polyphenols. Next one, please.
Okay.
Next one. Yes. Now this slide shows the risk factors that can decrease immunity, such as the smoking, alcoholism, pollutants, mental stress, sleep, and viral infections. And all these factors have a reference. Next one. And this slide shows that how protective factors can provide protection and influence various biomolecules in the body. The environmental factors can damage the GMP, and vaccination can enhance the hematopoietic stem cells, and thus they can improve the transcriptomic, epigenomic, metabolomic, and reprogramming, whereas the Western type of food and damage all of them and decrease the immunity. Next, please. Next. Yes. Now this is a very important slide because it shows the effect of various dietary factors on lipometabolism and immune cell lipid metabolism. And if there is a Western type of diet, this would damage and would cause more inflammation and oxidized LDL. Whereas if it is a Mediterranean diet, it would enhance anti-inflammatory molecules and resulting into decrease in inflammation, but the Western diet would cause risk factor progression, more infection, decrease in autoimmunity, resulting into complications and severe form of diseases and mortality. Next slide, please. Next one. So what is the mechanism? Western diet triggers innate immunity and node-like receptors, IFN signaling pathways. Thus, Western diet induces long-lasting trained immunity in myeloid cells, and LPS respond to cyclic, GMP, and also these stem cells. The long-term acute overactivation of the innate immune system conferred by trained immunity has been recently hypothesized to link between non-resolving vascular inflammation such as atherosclerosis and thrombosis and tissue damage leading to fibrosis and pneumonia. Next one. Next slide, please. So the Western diet is high in refined carbohydrates. Yes. So
Okay. Please
excessive
continue.
consumption of such foods can cause induce lipotoxic state, activate the innate immune system via TLR expressed on macrophage, dendrite cells, and neutrophils. Next slide, please. Next one. This trigger activation of the canonical inflammatory signaling pathways that produce inflammatory mediators and other effectors and immune system. This is especially relevant to COVID-19 patients, given the high rate of infection among lung alveolar epithelial cells and the involvement of lung tissue inflammation. Next one. So, high-fat diet fed mice experiment showed that the T cell deficits were observed with high-fat diet. T cells are responsible for providing immunity. Therefore, consumption of Western diet with high fat significantly impairs adaptive immunity while ramping up innate immunity, leading to chronic inflammation and severely impairing the immune system.
Next.
Could you do that? No. Okay. So, in addition to innate immunity, Western diet consumption inhibits T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes function in the adaptive immune system. Specifically, high-fat diet induces oxidative stress and impairs the function of T and B cell proliferation and maturation, and induces B cell apoptosis, which contributes to B cell immunosuppression. Moreover, T and B cells counts were also significantly lower in patients with severe COVID infection, that there could be potential interaction between Western diet consumption and COVID-19 on impairment of. So, it exerts beneficial effects for host defense against invading pathogens, but uncontrolled persistent innate immune activation causes chronic inflammation, diseases, acute inflammatory reaction, predisposing to thrombosis and fibrosis, resulting into ARDS and later on increased mortality. And this slide shows the mechanism. This slide shows the mechanism, how you can't see, but I can tell you that Western diet damages or triggers the innate immunity by stimulating node-like receptors and IFN signaling pathways, and it also alters LPS responses and GMPs, and it induces long-lasting trained immunity in the myeloid cells. But there is a limit. When there is a too long consumption, then it damages all the system and decreases the immunity. And this slide shows how protective factors like the vaccine, BCG vaccine, how protective factors like BCG vaccine can provide benefit and increase the immunity. Various factors are shown here, which have I already enumerated, and how Indo-Mediterranean diet, moderate physical activity, yoga, meditation, and BCG would increase immunity is shown here, which you can't see, sorry. Then what is the mechanism of adverse and beneficial effects? These, the antigens may be infection, pollutants, oxidants, leading to augmented immune responses. And there may be protective antigens, such as the Indo-Mediterranean type of foods, which has been identified by node-like receptors in the body, which are all called NLRP3, to mediate trained immunity, to evolve innate and adapted immune systems, and produce anti-inflammatory molecules. And these inflammatory molecules are lipoxins and oxylipins, which may inhibit thrombosis and atherosclerosis. And therefore, that is how immunity inhibits heart attack and also pneumonias. The antigens, as well as the Indo-Mediterranean type of foods, can also influence epigenome. Epigenome is the surface of the gene, and it is manifested by histone modification, DNA methylation, modulation of messenger RNA, and long non-coding RNA expression. The protective factors are yoga, meditation, exercise, sleep, and some of the herbs, as well as moderate alcohol. That can also provide protective factors, as shown by some of the investigators. And this slide shows, which you can't see, how these factors enhance the immunity. Increased physical activity and Indo-Mediterranean foods can improve the surface of the DNA. Yeah, this slide shows the protective factors, omega-3 flavonoids, antiviral flavonoids, PUFA, arachidonic acid, and omega-3 fatty acids. Next slide. Yes, and in the fish you have not only fish omega-3, but also fish peptides and selenium. They also enhance immunity. Next one. And this is study in 147 patients of corona compared to 150 non-corona, in where corona test was negative. And we found that chronic disease, diabetes, hypertension were more common in the corona group compared to the other group. Next slide, please. And we also found that travel from corona infected area, and also people of Jamaat, Tablighi Jamaat, very many people from Indonesia came to India. And, yeah.
Oh, Jamaat Tabligh.
Yes. And they would not listen. They would say that we don't believe in asymptomatic corona. When there are symptoms, I can isolate. But if there are no symptoms, we would not isolate. Something like that. So all these risk factors were more common among corona patients compared to the other group. Next slide, please. And this is clearly shown here that risk factors were more common in patients compared to the control group. Next slide. And then protective factors. The Indo-Mediterranean type of foods, physical activity, and intake of herbs and nutraceuticals, they were less common in corona group compared to the other group. Next slide, which is more clearly shown in this slide. Next one. Next. So what you should not do, critical to consider the impact of lifestyle habits on immunity. Refrain from tobacco, alcoholism, short sleep, aggression and anxiety, Western type of foods, no night awakening, night eating. Next one. And what to eat? Eat 150 grams per day of green leafy vegetables, fruits, citrus fruits, guava, grapes, papaya, muskmelon, berries, broccoli, dark grapes, then nuts, peanuts, walnuts, almonds. Then we have the last slide. Okay, the last slide shows that Indo-Mediterranean type of foods. Regular night sleep, 7 to 8 hours.
Okay.
Moderate exercise, half-hour brisk walking, and normal body weight should be maintained by eating balanced diet. not by not eating. Japanese population, they are not eat, when they want to reduce their weight, they start eating. They stop eating rather. That's wrong. We should go for a balanced low caloric diet or alternate day fasting for decreasing the body weight. Yoga and meditation to manage mental stress of any kind and control diabetes, blood pressure, hypertension, and kidney functions. No tobacco, no alcoholism, moderate alcohol, mostly wines, and have fasting on alternate days. Low energy diet can also has been found to enhance T lymphocytes in the body, which could be potential factor for increasing immunity and hence improvement and your power to fight the coronavirus infection. Sorry, very sorry for the inconvenience.
So I'm from Beneo-Institute, and I'd like to share with you how we can strengthen our body's inner defense with prebiotic chicory root fibers. So prebiotics are special nutrients for the good gut microbes. So first of all, I'd like to introduce a little bit about myself and where I'm from. So I'm from the Beneo-Institute, and there are 3 departments under Beneo-Institute. We've got nutrition science. Our colleagues from nutrition science, they do the studies together with scientists from all over the world. And the second department, we've got nutrition communication. Well, that's my department. So in this department, we share about the science. You know, the science is so exciting. It's just so much stuff to share with you guys. Okay, and the third department is regulatory affairs. So our colleagues from regulatory affairs, they deal with the food legislation. For example, they talk with the people from BPOM or the FDA from other countries. And now we are a science-based organization, so we participate in many scientific conferences all over the world. Even this one, ISFAN, and also last year in Asia Congress of Nutrition, and also the Asia Pacific Conference on Clinical Nutrition as well, and also other conferences in Europe and the US. So so sometime this week, I also took part in this ILSI conference on sugar reduction. And these are 2 websites that we created. On the left is about prebiotic chicory root fibers. So actually this prebiotic chicory root fibers is a very special ingredient. It's obtained from the chicory plant, just using hot water process only. And this plant, this chicory plant, is also very pretty. You see on the right hand side, you see a little flower there, a blue flower. So if you allow it time to grow, it'll grow into a blue flower. And on the right-hand side, you see a website called palatinos.org. So we also have this really good quality ingredient. It's a slow-release carbohydrate ingredient. It's low GI and also really good for our metabolic health. But today, I'll focus on prebiotic chicory root fibers. So I encourage everyone to check out our websites. Okay, so over here is an overview of what I would like to share today. I'm going to share about gut and gut microbes and how they influence our immunity. And where does it start? Okay, the prebiotic effect starts in the large intestine. Okay, I'm going to focus more on this area as well. And how can we improve or selectively get more good gut microbes? That's where prebiotic chicory root fibers come in. And today I'm going to share with you the science and how this special ingredient can also help to strengthen our body's inner defense. And last but not least, I'm going to show you the link between blood sugar levels, blood sugar, and also immunity. Sometimes I'll say blood sugar, sometimes I'll say blood glucose. These are the same thing. Just one is consumer friendly, one is more scientific term. Okay, this is my favorite part, okay? How our gut and gut microbes influence our immunity. So the importance of our gut microbes and the gut microbiota have already been addressed in scientific activities and also organizations all over the world. So here we've got from ISAPP, it stands for International Scientific for Prebiotics and Probiotics. So ISAP scientists also clearly acknowledge that prebiotics and probiotics, they are no-brainers when it comes to supporting our immunity. So prebiotics are special nutrients for the good microbes, and probiotics, these are the good microbes. So the same thing has been rolled out in other countries such as the United Kingdom and also in Malaysia, where they recommend gut-friendly foods for our gut health. And that makes a lot of sense because, you know, our gut is a center of immunity. More than 70% of our immune cells are located in our gut alone. And even in China, they've also published a handbook of COVID-19 prevention and treatment. And over here, they also talk a little bit about the balance of the gut microbes and nutritional support. And in China, scientists have also published this paper by Gao et al. 2020, just this year only. And in that paper, it says that the Chinese government and first-line medical staff also accept the importance of the role of the gut microbes in this COVID-19 prevention infection. Okay, so I've talked about the gut and the gut microbes. I'm going to share with you a little bit more about what our gut does, okay? So give you a bit more of scientific background of the function of our gut. So a long time ago, people used to think that our gut has got very basic function. Is to digest food, is to make stools, and then to excrete stools. Just these three functions alone. But today, we know that our gut actually has more functions than that. You see, our gut is a very special organ. It produces hormones. It's also our second brain. Okay, our first brain is up here, our brain together with the spinal cord. The second brain is actually our gut. The scientific name is called the nervous system. Okay, nervous has nothing to do with being nervous, okay? This is a scientific name. And the important thing about our gut is this three red bubbles that I'd like to share. Okay, the first thing is our gut is a barrier between the inside world, which is our body, and the outside world. What's the outside world? So the outside world will be the environmental factors, the food and the drinks that we put into our body, our inside world. Our gut's a very specialized barrier. It helps us to absorb nutrients and at the same time also helps to prevent these bad bacteria, bad microbes, and their endotoxins from coming into our body and harming us. And like what I mentioned earlier, our gut is a major center of the immune system. More than 70% of our cells, the immune cells, are located just in our gut alone. And you know, we've got microbes living on us and also in us. 90% of these microbes on our body is actually located in our gut. And most of these gut microbes are located in the large intestine. You know, we've got hundreds of trillions of these gut microbes in the large intestine. And according to scientific literature, these gut microbes can weigh as much as a few hundred grams, up to 2 kilos. And scientific literature also says that these gut microbes are actually our forgotten organ. They're really important for our health, overall health, and good gut microbes and their activities, such as metabolites, such as short-chain fatty acids, they interact with our immune system. They help to regulate our immune system, and also they interact with the rest of our body. So that's super important, okay, for our health. And of course, we want more good gut microbes, right? Instead of bad gut microbes. So how do we have more good gut microbes? Easy. We just give a good gut microbes their favorite food. What's their favorite food? Prebiotics. And chicory root fibers, these are scientifically proven prebiotics. They help to selectively promote more good microbes, more good gut microbes. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the importance of gut microbes here. You know, when we take these special nutrients, prebiotic chicory root fibers, the favorite food of the good gut microbes, what happens? Of course, we can help to strengthen and support our inner defense system, which is our immunity. There are also other benefits when we take these prebiotic chicory root fibers. It helps our gut health, our digestive health, so that we have regular bowels. You know, we don't have constipation at all. It feels great. Okay, and people also have digestive feelings, feelings of digestive wellness as well. And chicory root fibers can also help in the area of blood sugar management, in bone health. So calcium is reaching into the bones. And also help in the area of weight management. For example, we eat fewer calories and more. There's so many benefits. So all these benefits are proven by human studies. So over here, I just want to show you some potential ways of how prebiotics can help to support our inner defense. So first of all, prebiotics can help us in our barrier function improvement, gut barrier improvement. So when you take prebiotics, it helps us to get a nice, thick and juicy gut, okay? Not a skinny gut. We want a thick and juicy gut so that it forms a good and strong barrier. And the other thing about prebiotics is it helps to reduce infections as well. How? By the prebiotic effect. It selectively increases the good gut microbes. So we have more good gut microbes protecting us, okay, our bodyguards, as compared to the bad gut microbes, so that these bad gut microbes, they don't get too comfortable in our body. And prebiotics can also help in the area of reducing the negative effects of antibiotics. You know, the other name of antibiotics is actually called antibacterial medication. So antibacterial or antibiotic medication, they help to kill the bad bacteria that's making us sick. But one of the side effects of antibiotics is, at the same time, it also harms some of the good bacteria in our gut. So with prebiotics, we get reduced negative effects of antibiotic medication. And prebiotics can also help us in the area of reduced inflammation. So we see this, the evidence in the area of overweight and obesity. These conditions actually increase inflammation. So with prebiotics, it helps to reduce inflammation. And also in other areas such as inflammatory bowel diseases and also things like fatty liver. And we also see evidence of prebiotics in the area of allergy reduction. Okay, I've talked about prebiotics this, prebiotics that. What is a prebiotic? There is a definition. So over here, this is a definition, the scientific definition of prebiotics. This prebiotics definition is done by the ISAP, the International Scientific Association for Prebiotics and Probiotics. So ISAP is an independent non-profit organization. It consists of independent international scientists in the area of prebiotics and probiotics. So they got together and then they came based on their experiences and based on the research literature out there. This was the latest scientific definition of prebiotics. So according to the ISAP, a prebiotic is a substance that is selectively used by the host microorganism. By the way, host is us, okay? We are the host, plus conferring to a health benefit. And this health benefit, it must be proven in human studies. So if the host is a human, the health benefit must be proven in the human studies. If the host is, let's say you're selling pet food, okay, the health benefit must be proven in the pet. So this paper is about 10 pages long, but if there's no time to read, you can check out this video on the right-hand side. It's 2 minutes long. So because of this really strict criteria for prebiotics, not everything's a prebiotic. Recently, Professor Bob Russell, he's also one of the prebiotic experts from ISAP. He's from the University of Reading, UK as well. So he gave this presentation last year in the Asia Pacific Conference on Clinical Nutrition in China. And he did this evaluation of prebiotics as well as potential prebiotics. And this was what he found. So chicory, inulin, and FOS, or also called oligofructose, together with GOS, these are scientifically proven prebiotics. The science, the body of the evidence, the strength of the evidence is really good, very strong. So he gave them a green light, okay? And everything else, they are considered to be candidate prebiotics. Why candidate? Because the science, the body of the evidence, the strength of the evidence is not so strong. Not so strong to be considered to be a scientifically proven prebiotic. So what's the difference between chicory, inulin, and FOS and GOS? So chicory root fibers versus GOS. What's the difference? Okay, chicory root fibers, they are plant-based prebiotics. GOS is synthesized from the milk sugar called lactose. So chicory root fibers are plant-based, GOS is milk-based. So the strong body of evidence for prebiotic chicory root fibers, there's a very strong evidence for around prebiotic chicory root fibers. So there's a selective fermentation of these special nutrients, these prebiotics, by the beneficial bacteria in our gut called bifidobacteria. Why bifidobacteria? Actually, bifidobacteria is one of the most famous good gut microbe and also the most well-studied. So actually, there are more than 40 studies in humans and also more than 15 studies in infants and children showing a selective increase of this good bacteria called bifidobacteria when people eat prebiotic chicory root fibers. So these evidence is very strong and consistent, no matter what race the person is, what ethnic group, what age, what gender, and also the food matrix, and so on and so forth. So in human studies, we find that we find that 5 grams per day of chicory root fibers per day, okay, not per intake, per day increases bifidobacteria already and significantly. So over here, you see the history of the prebiotic research. So back in 1995, that's about 25 years ago, the prebiotic concept was born. So it was this landmark paper was published by Professor Glenn Gibson and also Professor Robert Freud. So Professor Glenn Gibson, that's the first person's photo you saw just now, the one from ISAP. Okay, so that's professor together with Professor Robert Freud. They published this landmark paper. They did this study on prebiotic. So 1995 was when the word prebiotic was first discovered, okay, was first published. And in this paper, the professors found that chicory root fibers, together with gauze, these are scientifically proven prebiotics. Fast forward to today, okay, more than 20 years later, the science still shows that chicory root fibers, together with gauze, these are still scientifically proven prebiotics, and everything else are still candidate prebiotics. And Beneo has been supporting this prebiotics and gut microbiota research for more than 20 years already. And even to today, 2020, we're still doing this research, prebiotics and gut microbes. It's very exciting research. Actually, there's so many things to discover. You know, according to scientists, even though prebiotic research has been ongoing for 25 years, it's actually considered to be in its infancy, okay? Still a baby. So you see, there's so many things to discover about prebiotics and gut microbes. And today, of course, I'm going to share with you some information. Yeah. And over here, I'm going to share with you how this Orafti brand of prebiotic chicory root fibers can help to support our immune system. Okay, so Orafti is a brand of chicory root fibers that Beneo has. Okay, so we also do a lot of research together with scientists from all over the world. So these are some of the key highlights, okay, that I want to share with you today. So these prebiotic chicory root fibers can help to strengthen the inner defense in children, their immune system, so that they don't get sick so often. And it can also help to reduce the negative effects of antibiotics. Remember the antibacterial medication? Yep, I'm going to show you the studies later on. And prebiotics can also help to strengthen our gut barrier and nourish it, so we get a nice, thick and juicy, good, strong gut barrier. So prebiotics chicory root fibers also help in autoimmune disorders. For example, in type 1 diabetes or inflammatory bowel diseases. So autoimmune disorder means that the immune system mistakenly attacks our body. I'm going to share a little bit more in the next few slides. Okay, and I'll explain a bit more. Okay, and chicory root fibers have also been shown to reduce infections of pathogens or bad bacteria, for example, in the area of traveler's diarrhea or food poisoning. And also reduce inflammation in fatty liver, overweight, obesity, osteoarthritis, and so on and so forth. And also greater antibody response during flu vaccination. So this flu, it's not about the COVID flu. So this study was published before anyone heard of COVID virus or the COVID flu. So over here in this, the pictures you see at the bottom, these are screenshots of the scientific papers, the key scientific papers that have been published on this area. So I'm going to show you the studies. Okay, over here is one of the latest studies on chicory root fibers showing a selective increase in good bacteria in the gut. This study was published by Professor Reis and also Professor Verbiker from Belgium, and they used DNA next generation sequencing technique. So why do we use this? Yes, it's the latest, it's the most up-to-date, it's the latest technique. But why this and why not other methods? Well, because if we use other traditional methods, it cannot detect changes in the gut microbes. Not all gut microbes can be cultured. You know, on the traditional agar plate, some of you may have done that in school before. So gut microbes, not everything can be grown on this agar plates. So that's why you must use this DNA next generation technique to detect changes in the gut microbes. So over here, this is the results of what happened when people took either chicory root fibers or placebo maltodextrin. So maltodextrin is like a starch. It is not a prebiotic, and neither is it a fiber. So we compared the two. So what happened? Okay, so with prebiotic chicory root fibers, the people who ate this special ingredient, they had more good bacteria, bifidobacteria, as well as N. aerostypes. And we see a lower numbers of Bilophila, which is a bad bacteria. So on the right-hand side, you see a snapshot of the results. Okay, let me show you how to read them, okay? So P stands for placebo, I stands for chicory inulin or chicory root fibers. So with chicory root fiber group, we can see more good bacteria, bifidobacteria. The blue box, the dark blue box is taller than the light blue box. And when people ate these chicory root fibers, we see an increase in anaerostypes, also good bacteria. You see the dark green box is taller than the light green box. And in the chicory root fiber group, we also see lower bilophila. You see the dark orange box, that means people who eat these chicory root fibers, it is lower as compared to the light orange box. Okay, yeah, so this is another study I want to show you. It's done in children. So these children were given prebiotic chicory root fibers, okay? And this study was done during the winter season. It was done in Hungary. So Hungary is a very cold place, definitely much colder than Singapore, where I'm from, and also Indonesia or Southeast Asia. So Hungary has got 4 seasons, and the winter season is super cold. I've only been there once in my life. I've been there in spring and it was super cold already. I can't imagine what it's like in winter. Okay, so this prebiotic chicory root fibers was given to these children during the winter season. Why? Okay, let me tell you why. Okay, so the winter season is when people and also children get sick more often. So that is the best time to try out this prebiotic chicory root fibers, right, in the area of immunity. So children are given either prebiotic chicory root fibers or the placebo maltodextrin. Let's take a look at what happened. In terms of the gut microbes, they had significantly higher levels of the good gut microbes called bifidobacteria and lactobacillus. In terms of the immune system or inner defense, these children who took chicory root fibers had significantly fewer infections with fever and sinusitis. So anything ending with itis means infection. Sinusitis means sinus infection. And a plus point is these children who took chicory root fibers, they had better stool consistency, so better digestive health. So when they went to the toilet, it was all good. Okay, so within this group of, in the children who took chicory root fibers or placebo, some of them fell sick. Of course, the children who took chicory root fibers, they fell sick less often as compared to the placebo group. So anyway, when the children fell sick, whether they're from the placebo group or the prebiotic chicory root fibers group, they went to see a doctor, and doctor gave them antibiotic medication. Antibiotic means antibacterial. So what happened to the children's gut microbes? Okay, so let me share with you about the children who took the prebiotic chicory root fibers. So these children, when they were on the antibiotic medication, they had higher levels of bifidobacteria, even though they took antibiotic medication. So you see, this prebiotic chicory root fibers help to maintain this high and stable level of bifidobacteria. Okay, this other study I want to show you is done in children with type 1 diabetes. So type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disorder. It's discovered early on in life. So that's why it's a children's study. Once in a while, in a very rare case, type 1 diabetes is discovered in adults. So a very famous adult with type 1 diabetes is actually Miss Theresa May, who's a former Prime Minister for Britain. So anyway, this is about children, okay, the type 1 diabetes study in children. Okay, so what is type 1 diabetes? It's an autoimmune disorder where little or no insulin is produced. Why? Because the immune system mistakenly attacks the pancreas. The pancreas is an organ that produces insulin, and insulin is a hormone that helps to regulate the blood sugar levels. So for these children, they have to inject themselves with insulin so as to help regulate their blood sugar levels. And scientists found that there's a link to imbalanced gut microbes, and this is again associated or linked with having a leaky gut. That means the gut is permeable to things like bad bacteria or the endotoxins that the bacteria is producing. So this leaky gut has been shown to predate or occur first prior to the development of type 1 diabetes. So leaky gut occurs first, followed by the diagnosis and development of type 1 diabetes. So in this study, these type 1 diabetic children were given either chicory root fibers or placebo maltodextrin. Let's take a look what happened, okay? So in terms of gut microbes, again, we see a selective increase in the good gut microbes called bifidobacteria. And we also see higher levels of C-peptide. What is C-peptide? So C-peptide indicates that the pancreas is now producing insulin. Wow. From little to no insulin, now the pancreas is starting to produce some insulin. So it's really exciting, this study. And on top of that, the scientists also found that there's less leaky gut in these children who took prebiotic chicory root fibers. And a correlation analysis found that there's a link between the gut microbes and also leaky gut. So it's a really interesting study. Okay, I'll show you another. I will jump on to the next topic, and this is about blood glucose management as well as a link between immunity. So we've seen that prebiotic chicory root fibers can help in the area of inner defense. Prebiotic chicory root fibers can also help in the area of blood glucose management. But how is blood glucose management and immune system linked? Let me show you. But before that, I want to share with everyone that a lower blood glucose response and lower blood sugar levels is actually much better for all of us, no matter what age group and no matter what health status you are. Here are some reasons why, okay? Unfortunately, during this time, scientists, healthcare professionals, and every one of us, we actually discovered that diabetes weakens the body's ability to fight this coronavirus. So studies have been published as well in scientific papers, and also from American Heart Association, they also published this, this news this year. And even the Singapore Straits Times News, they also published the same thing, that diabetes weakens the body's ability to fight this coronavirus. So that's why having healthy blood sugar levels is really important, not just for diabetic people, but also for everyone, you and I. So these are two articles published by the New York Times. So on the left, it says how fast carbohydrates can undermine our health. Fast carbohydrates actually trigger a fast and high blood sugar response. And when we always have high blood sugar levels, what happens? We get a higher risk of getting diseases like diabetes and heart disease as well. And on the right-hand side is another New York Times article that was published also this year. And it shows that high blood sugar levels can decrease your exercise benefits. So this New York Times article was based on a scientific paper that was published recently by McDonald's. McDonald's here is the name of the scientist. It's not the fast food restaurant. Okay, so over here you see healthy blood sugar levels is important for everyone, okay, no matter what health stage or no matter whether you're healthy, not so healthy, and no matter whatever age. Okay, so with prebiotic chicory root fibers, it can help in the area of healthier blood sugar management. How? You see, chicory root fibers, they are not digestible by the small intestine, so it doesn't increase our blood sugar levels at all. Okay, so in this 9 human studies, in normal people, in overweight people, it shows that the more chicory root fibers is used to replace sugars, the lower the blood glucose response. And already 20% sugar replacement shows a significant effect. So all these studies are very consistent. They show a reduced blood sugar response with chicory root fibers. And on the right, you see a graph. You see some green and some red dots. Okay, so green dots represent the oligofructose. Oligofructose means shorter chain chicory root fibers. And red dots, they represent data from inulin. Inulin is the longer chain chicory root fibers. So whether short chain or long chain chicory root fibers, these are all chicory root fibers, and these are all prebiotics as well. And they can also help in the area of blood sugar management. Actually, another way, another mechanism that chicory root fibers can help in our blood sugar management is via the prebiotic effect. How? Okay, so first of all, these prebiotics are selectively used by the good gut microbes, particularly bifidobacteria. And these good gut microbes, they produce short-chain fatty acids, these metabolites. Short-chain fatty acids are actually really good for our health, okay? And these short-chain fatty acids also trigger the release of this hormone called GLP-1 hormone. It's a gut hormone. And this gut hormone in turn triggers insulin release. So insulin is a hormone that helps to regulate our blood sugar levels. So you see this prebiotic chicory root fibers is pretty cool, right? In helping you with inner defense as well as blood sugar management. Okay, and the science of the evidence around chicory root fibers in reduced blood glucose response is really strong. So we have a positive EFSA or EFSA scientific opinion. So EFSA stands for European Food Safety Authority. It's one of the world's toughest regulatory bodies, okay? So it's not easy to get a scientific opinion from them. So we have this positive scientific opinion from them. Plus, we also have a health claim for reduced blood glucose response with chicory root fibers when it's used to replace sugars, and it's from the European Commission. So in the European Union or European countries, you can actually use this claim. Okay, and with that, that's my thank you slide. So thank you very much for your time, and terima kasih for also for our Indonesian friends. Thank you.
So today, I would like to introduce to you some of the innovation that is going on and might help the consumers to attain more healthy diets or more healthier food products. So as everyone knows, the scenery of food supply chain is changing. Right now, both fresh and processed foods play a vital role in the global food supply. This is because of the increase in urbanization as well as the advancement of the logistic or the food product distribution chain. At the same time, consumers have become more aware on their health, nutrition, and well-being. So it is the key reason why we are looking for healthier food products, and the industry or the food manufacturer are now trying to respond to the consumers' demand by providing the market with healthier choices. Another factor is the change in population structure worldwide. We are experiencing an aging population in many, many countries. Even in Southeast Asia, Thailand in particular, we are going to be an aged society beginning next year. And we also have other factors that may play a role in the change food supply chain scenery, like the change in consumer preference and regulatory atmosphere, the emerging of new marketing channels, especially under this COVID situation. You've seen a bloom of food delivery and also food order on the internet, online food order. So this is a new or emerging channel of food distribution that we are experiencing. And also, last but not least, a lot of countries are also putting an importance on concerns on social and environmental issues, as well as sustainability in the long term. So today I would like to talk to you about potential areas for innovation and modernization. These are a few ideas that is being carried out in the food industry, namely food reformulation, production of specialty ingredients, production of food ingredients from alternative sources, some of the emerging processing technology, and personalization of your food products or diet, which may become possible in the near future. As you can see, the market is booming with healthy food products. So how can we make them healthy? Some of the innovation, like I mentioned, first of all, food reformulation or renovation. As you know, there are a few undesirable components of the food. For example, like high calorie content, high sodium, and high sugar. That is why there are technology or new innovation that can help to minimize these less desirable components. For example, in terms of calorie content, there are process for increasing digestion resistant starch in the starch or polysaccharide based product, such as using a technique to change the structure of the starch in the plant, or suppressing the starch branching enzyme gene to produce amylose only granules, which can become can increase the content of resistant starch in the plant or in the starch source. Low fat fried food is also another example that I would like to show you. This is the more of a industrial type fryer, oilless frying process, which use dynamic radiant frying. This may look a bit complicated because it's the process used in the industry, but in the household, especially in Thailand during the past lockdown period for COVID situation, we've seen a boom in the sales of hot air fryers. People are looking for more healthy fried food. So, and there's a great deal of increase in the purchase of hot air fryer especially during the COVID lockdown period, because people stay at home and they want to experience cooking, they want to try making something at home. They want to eat fried food, but they want to make it healthier. Or some of the process that are used right now in the industry, like vacuum frying, which makes frying possible under low pressure and low temperature. Now, sugar replacement is another big issue that people are talking about. And there are a lot of non-caloric sweeteners being available for the food industry and as well as in the market, such as stevia, aspartame, and so on. For example, in Thailand right now, we've seen a growth, an expanding growth in the formulation of sugar sweetened products, particularly sugar sweetened beverage. This is because of the manufacturer's attempt to respond to the health trend, and they also can apply for the front of pack healthy logo, like you see at the bottom of the screen. This is the healthier choice logo for Thailand. And also Thailand has started to have sugar tax for sweetened beverage for a few years now. So sugar replacement has also become of interest for the industry. In terms of salt reduction, salt replacement in the past, we rely mainly on other types of chloride salts that also give a salty taste, but not the same as sodium chloride, such as potassium chloride and lithium chloride, but they may have some off flavor attached to them as well. So there's with modern technology, it is possible to alter the sodium chloride crystal structure, such as using the microcrystallization technique or other techniques to increase the solubility and the taste intensity of sodium chloride itself. So the manufacturer can use less sodium chloride in their product. In order to reformulate a product with lower sodium content. Let's look at some specialty ingredients for health benefits. There are a lot of functional ingredients in terms of health benefits that are of interest right now in the market. And there are technology that can make them more active or more available for absorption in the body, such as nanotechnology and as well as microemulsion technique, which can make the substance so small that it can increase the absorption of that particular compound. And the compound of interest are usually non-nutrient compounds or phytochemicals, such as pro and prebiotics, omega-3 fatty acids, some bioactive peptides, and other phytochemicals like carotenoids, flavonoids, as some of the examples. These are some of the research that has already been commercialized. This is a production of curcumin nanoemulsion that use the nanoemulsion delivery system to increase the bioavailability as well as the anti-inflammatory effects of curcumin. And this is down below is the picture of the product that is already available in the market. And this slide shows you that there are wide varieties of ingredients that have been produced using nanoemulsion or nanoencapsulation technique, and they have been added to a wide varieties of products as well. There's some vitamins, some antioxidants, even nutraceuticals, compound, and even compound extracted from different kinds of herbs and spices. This is another technology that is become more useful, particularly in the aging society, which this is a specialty ingredient used for modifying the texture of food, used to formulate food with modified texture. These are mostly hydrocolloids, such as xanthan gum, gellan gum, glucomannan, carrageenan, and so on. This is particularly helpful in formulating the product for the silver generation or for therapeutic products, because it helps to modify the texture of the food so that the food or the beverage can be swallowed quite easily without choking. Another technique that is used for texture modification is pureeing and reshaping. These are examples of foods served in nursing homes and elder care centers in Singapore. As you can see from the menu, this is like they have like carrots and other type of vegetables and the fish, I think, and this is spinach. They puree and then reshape it into another form of products, which is easily chewable and easily to swallow, easy to swallow for the elderly. Now we look at the alternative sources of food ingredients. I think no one can deny that right now plant-based foods or plant-based protein is become of much interest in the worldwide market. You have seen the plant-based meat analog in almost every market. Right now in Thailand, it's starting to grow as well. This is because people are trying to divert from animal protein due to health awareness. Some is maybe because of the beliefs and religion, and also sustainability and environmental concern, because growing plants give out less carbon dioxide or give less carbon footprint than raising animals. And these are photo of some of the products. As you can see, there are a lot of like burgers, sausages, and so on and so forth. And the plant-based milk is another category that is going widely in all the markets as well. Another protein source of interest right now is protein from insects like cricket, mealworm, or caterpillar. In Thailand, we have quite large cricket farms that supply for exporters as well as locally. These are some of the food products using insect ingredients that you may see more and more in the future. Some innovative process has also been studied and made possible for production of some certain compounds. For example, these are biofactories for producing anthocyanin using plant cell culture. Now you can make anthocyanin extract in the lab using plant tissue culture, as well as, sorry, I think I have in the later on in another slide, growing meat in the lab using cell culture. Another production or processing technique that is of interest right now is how to make fresh but shelf-stable food using non-thermal food processing technology. Particularly, the current interest is on high-pressure processing. These are some of the products like the juices and several types of meats that can be produced using high-pressure processing. And the product can be kept at room temperature for long shelf life, similar to canned food, but that it tastes a lot fresher. Technology that will become more available in the future is 3D food printing technology. This is quite interesting because you can put any component into the mix and then print it into the form of food product. It will also be quite useful in formulating food product for the elderly as well, because you can adjust the texture to whatever you want, and will be easily chewable and swallow. Vertical farming is another interest. Is in the controlled environment. You can grow your own crops of vegetables in a hydroponic or aeroponic systems. And this is a culture meat that I mentioned earlier. You can grow your own meat in the lab, and it will become more available in the future as the technology advances. This is what they call cellular agriculture in action. Now, with those advanced technology and the advancement in the genetic knowledge as well, we are talking a lot about personalized nutrition or personalized diet. There are many forms, from simply a dietary advice given by dietitian or nutritionist according to our own or each individual's health examination results, to a more sophisticated advice or sophisticated product tailor-made for those for each of those individuals. I think we will see this kind of more of these products in the market in the future. As I mentioned earlier, 3D food printing is one of the technology which can be applied here. You can tailor-make the ingredients that will be put into the printer, the 3D food printer, and then print out the food that contains whatever you want it to be in that product. And in the future, 3D food printer will even become a household appliance because there have been tested the household food 3D food printer has already been tested in some of the countries like in Europe and in the US, and it may become available in the market. You can just go to the electrical supply store and buy a 3D food printer for your household as like you go and buy a microwave oven or even a TV in the future. Okay, so I think that is what I want to share with you in terms of innovation and modernization that we may see in the near future related to food product, new form of food product or modified form of food product. Because food science and technology has evolved throughout the years to promote innovation that is necessary to make healthier food products. And the advancement that has been successful, some of the technology that I have shared with you has helped the industry to reformulate or modernize its food production and processing technology, as well as we are seeing emerging knowledge leading to personalization of people's diet and nutrition. And last but not least, to achieve healthy eating, I think consumer education will continue to play a very important role in order to help the consumer make the right choice for whatever is available in the market. So with that, I thank you for your attention.